competitive. And then the performances were so good, we did 3 tonight. So we did Jessica Penne, Vincente, and Miles Johnsdale with $50,000. So congratulations to them. John Morgan.
What's going on? Oh, I might be surprised that Cyril Gahn didn't get a performance bonus. I mean, I think he's got bigger paychecks coming his way anyway, but...
Yeah, no, he did have a great performance. That's true. Well, I don't think we talk about that, man. This Sean, that's right. Yeah, Cyril, fuck it, he gets 50,000 too. There you go. Good job, John Morgan. Get all the credit for that one. Yeah, that's true. Cyril Gahn should absolutely get it.
Yeah, can you talk about what you saw the other night? Because we knew he was a great fighter, right, undefeated, but he was criticized a little bit for his last 2 performances, being too careful, too patient, not engaging enough. Here it seems like he showed a little bit of both sides, right? He was smart and then got it.
I got asked that during press day, and apparently one of the guys was saying that I had said that he was a boring fighter. I don't ever remember saying that. I don't ever remember calling him boring. Listen, if I said it, I'll own it. But I think that, you know, this guy has a style. He's a big, powerful, badass heavyweight who moves like a middleweight. You saw tonight what he was able to do to Derek Lewis, completely shut him down, but punched that. I don't know specific, numbers, but it was in the hundreds, and Derek was like 3. I mean, he completely shut him down, put on a clinic, looked good doing it, made it look easy against a guy who can turn the lights out with 1 punch. This kid's super talented, and yeah, listen, when you start getting sucked in to listen to people talk about, oh, you're boring and you're this and that, you got to tune that shit out and fight your style and fight the way that you fight. And that's what he did tonight. The other thing that impressed me with him is I was curious to see how he was going to stand up to the pressure of his first big main event. The crowds. It's definitely different. And you're in his backyard. You're in his hometown. So the guy couldn't have shined any more than he did tonight.
Can you talk about, what he means to the company? Obviously, France is a new territory. It's finally legal now. Can't necessarily go there right now, but is that exciting when you get somebody that's a champ from another country? What does that mean?
What do I always say? Everything in life is about timing. And, this kid becomes the heavyweight champion tonight, and we worked long and hard and spent a lot of money to get France done. Here we are.
And you made it clear, obviously, the next fight is the unification fight. Francis Ngannou is next. Francis came out this week and said the radio silence from the UFC. He hasn't heard anything, so...
There's nothing to hear. He wasn't fighting this weekend. What was there to hear?
So do you have any idea when that fight could possibly happen, or how soon you'd like to do it?
Do I ever know the night of the fight, when that fight will happen?
Every now and then.
Never. I never know. Yeah, so, ASAP, we'll get it done as soon as it's possible to do.
Just a couple quick ones outside the main event. Jose Aldo just continues to defy Father Time. What do you think about him, and what do you see? Obviously, a title fight is what he wants. That's not available now, but do you see matchups like a Dillashaw, Cruz, something like that makes sense for him?
Tonight was a very tough fight for him and a dangerous fight, especially a guy like Pedro, who's ranked number 9. And Jose looked awesome tonight. So good tonight. I thought that when I saw him at the press conference, he looked super skinny to me. When he was cutting, physically he looked unbelievable tonight. He was ripped to shreds like back in the day when he was a champ. And he had the cardio, speed, leg kicks again. He looked nasty tonight.
Last one I want to ask you about is Luque. He's we've had this deep welterweight division, but he hasn't really been in that conversation with like the Edwards, the Covington, the Masvidal. He hasn't been there. Do you feel after tonight he deserves to be in those same conversations?
He is now. You can't talk without talking about him now. First of all, that kid is fun to watch. When he beat Woodley, Woodley, former world champ, but Woodley hadn't won a fight in 3 years. You know what I mean? He beat Woodley. Okay. Tonight, not only did he beat Michael Chiesa, but when he went for that choke, I was like, why are you trying to submit Michael Chiesa? Get him out the fucking did it. I love to watch that kid fight. He's exciting. He's a killer. And I look forward to what's next for him. And yes, you can't talk about all the top guys in the world without talking about
And there's no way you can do scripted this. All right. There's no way you can do scripted this. Derek Lewis had no reason fighting Cyril Gane. The guy that he fought was Francis Ngannou. Cyril Gane and Francis Ngannou were teammates. Now Gane is the intern. When you make this heavyweight unification, it's between two former teammates where there's been some bad blood in there when Ngannou left their camp. There's no way you can do scripted this. I mean, this works perfectly.
Thank you, sir.
Right? I'm asking you.
I could not agree with you more. You are correct.
Damn.
It's badass, and what I love is when we were going into this fight, I was telling everybody, and it's absolutely true. You have two of the best possible heavyweights in the world fighting each other. You have the guy who beat Francis Ngannou, right? And a guy who's undefeated with the whole backstory that you just said, right? This fight got a lot of heat, created a lot of interest. Cyril Gane goes out tonight. He looks incredible. Like he said earlier, we've been working a long time on getting France open. France is open now, and we just got a TV deal in France, and here we are. And now the two. I mean, what you always want to do when you either build fighters, build fights, or put on fights, is you want to have the best possible guys fighting each other that you possibly can. It doesn't get any better than this. You couldn't write it, you couldn't script it. Fucking Vince couldn't have wrote a better script than this whole thing. It's beautiful, and I agree with you, sir. I'm glad you noticed.
Last one. Do you think Derek Lewis, the pressure was too much?
No.
Because when he came out, though, he was a little tense.
Cyril Gane was too much for him. Cyril Gane moves like a middleweight. His footwork is unbelievable. This guy stays on his toes the whole time, stays on the outside, picks you apart. He is a very talented fighter. And he's also, his fight IQ is through the roof. This guy's the real deal. Him and Francis is a badass heavyweight fight. Yep.
Dan, what's up, buddy?
How are you?
So, we talked about Francis, Derek Lewis. You ain't said nothing about Mr. Jones. Is he just the odd man out? Are you calling this one?
He's not fighting until next year. It's 2021, my brother. He's not fighting until 22. So I'm not even thinking about him until 22.
You ever spent time teaching Torres performing? She's had a rough 2020 and she's came back strong. She's putting her hands on her today.
Yeah, no. Let me tell you what. I thought Tisha was going to come out and try to push her against the fence, and she came out guns a-blazing. She looked better tonight than she's ever looked in any of her fights she's ever had. She looked incredible tonight. She put on a great performance.
Y'all usually don't go to places 2 times in 1 year. What is it about Houston, Texas that draws y'all? Y'all got 2 crazy cards here, 2 crazy crowds, and it just seems like it works at UFC in Houston.
Yeah, the back-to-back sellouts here. What is it to like about Houston? You know, the fans here are great. I love everything about the city, and with what's going on in the world right now, the easiest places to put on events are Texas and Florida. So, see what happens.
Of course, you're not a doctor or anything. Have y'all looked at past September for doing fights or anything like that on the pay-per-view cards? Are y'all still going over to Abu Dhabi?
Yeah, so I go on vacation tonight, and then when I get back, I'm planning my trip to Abu Dhabi.
Dan, down here to your right.
Thanks. Right? Take the back.
There you go, sorry about that. You talked about Houston, Texas, then I'm sorry about
Get
it.
you next. That's right, I'll get him next. Go ahead.
What about talking about Paris? We got a French champion now, and Francis Ngannou used to practice and train in France, and even though he's from Cameroon, he lived in France. Can we expect a big championship between Francis Ngannou and Cyril Gane in Paris?
You can only hope so. I like this gentleman and I were just discussing. It couldn't play out any better than it has. The only kink in the whole perfect story is the crazy shit that's going on in the world right now. So I don't know. In the perfect script, yes, we go to France and we do that fight there. That would be amazing. But I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out.
How important is it to you and the UFC to have Cyril Gane and Francis Ngannou that are not US and that could help develop the image of the UFC and the MMA around the world?
What's the question?
How important is it to you?
That's look at what Conor McGregor did for Europe, you know, and other parts of which what Francis and Cyril will do for France and Africa and many other places. So, yes, it's very important to us.
I know it's pretty specific and it will be my last question, but what about Africa?
Yeah,
Can you expect a big fight and a big event in Africa?
You know, I guarantee you I can do Florida and Texas. Florida and Texas I can do for the next however many years. I don't know about anywhere else right now. So we'll see. But yes, provided everything goes right, I would love to do a fight now. To be honest with you, my whole life, I've always dreamt of doing a fight in Africa. I've always wanted to do it. So that will be a big one and another monumental moment in my life.
All right. Do you see Ghana as almost representation of the evolution of MMA? A heavyweight who can move like that, who's that tactical. On top of that, he was born in France. I mean, the heavyweight at that level, born in France. I mean, even like 5 years ago, that seemed like it would be impossible.
Well, I don't know if he's the evolution, but you know, he's a freak athlete. I mean, every once in a while you'll come across freaks in different weight classes, and he's definitely one of those guys. I mean, he's a big, powerful dude. I mean, when you look at him, when he walked into the octagon tonight, I was like, holy shit. Well, when I was doing the stare downs with these guys, I mean, let's fucking be honest here. Yeah, I was doing nothing. You know, if that decided to go wrong, I'd ended up in the 6th row of the stands, not the floor. They would have ragdolled me into it just, I can't explain to you in words the power. When I was in between these guys, it's just like, very humbling, man. Two seriously powerful human beings. And when you look at Cyril Gane walked in tonight, and you look at the way that guy moves on his feet, we're in the 3rd round, and he's moving in the 3rd round like he moved in the 1st round. His cardio is unbelievable, his footwork is unbelievable. He's a freak of nature athlete.
And then, to have someone like him at that level, training in a short period of time from France, a place that only got legalized for MMA last year. It's kind of like you said, timing earlier. It's almost impossible to imagine someone that good being born in France and kind of rising right that sort of right?
Yeah, but you know, if you look at where they both came from the same coach. You gotta start saying, this guy's pretty talented. Yeah, coach. I mean,
Dan, curious, down in front of you. Obviously, a big part of this story for the fight between Francis and Cyril is going to be the fact that they used to train together. Did you ever hear anything about those sparring sessions that gives you an indication of what that fight could look like?
I never did. I just saw that Brad Moto posted some footage of them moving around together. That's all I've seen.
When a fight like this comes together, I can tell you're quite excited about it. Do you start making calls, being like, how does it come together?
No, I don't. But I'm super excited about this. It's like as John said earlier. You literally couldn't be played out any better than it was. And this fight had some hype behind it tonight. This fight did good numbers too. So people know who Cyril Gane is now, and they know the storyline. And I'm sure a lot of people are excited to see this fight.
Just wanted to ask you one more question about the Bobby Green Rafael physique fight. Does that physique look like the next sort of potential big star lightweight? He's such an exciting fight.
Yeah, I mean that fight was awesome, Bobby Green. I mean, when we made that fight, I mean that's one of my if you don't know, now you know this week. If Bobby Green brings it, this guy's fought everybody, and we expect the physio to do what he did tonight. And the guy has a ton of potential. Tough, durable.
Not a 30-27 card there. Someone scored at 30-27.
Yeah, that was bad. That was very bad. We're talking about that every week, so that's not going to change.
Hey Dana, excellent night. Just curious, with the performance of Vicente Luque and the way the welterweight division is shaping out with the title fight in November, is it safe to say that Leon Edwards is going to have to take another fight before earning the title shot?
I don't know right here off the top of my head, but yeah, probably a good idea. I mean, the guy's fought one time in the last 2 years, I think.
And then the last question is, with Stipe Miocic, the next time he enters the octagon, will it be for the title fight?
I don't know. The beautiful thing about this division right now is we have this fight tonight. Now Francis versus Cyril, and you got John Jones out there in 2022, and you got Stipe out there still too. So it means there's a lot of fun coming up over the next year and a half.
Dana, right here in the back. You said earlier that he was just too much for Derek Lewis. I mean, do you think this is something that Derek Lewis could evolve from and maybe close that discrepancy? Like, how much of a discrepancy are we talking about, do you think?
Well, listen, he's one of the best heavyweights in the world. What tonight showed you and showed the rest of the world is how good Cyril Gane really is. You know what I mean? He made Derek Lewis. Does anybody know the punch stats for real off the top of their head? Anybody? 104 to 8.
Damn.
So 104 to 8.
Wow.
I mean, what's that tell you? And we all know who Derek Lewis is.
Absolutely.
Derek's one of the best in the world. He's been in there with guys that are great athletes, probably much better than him, should have beat him, but he caught him. He caught him with that punch and he ends up knocking him out. He couldn't do anything in there tonight against Cyril Gane. That's how good Cyril Gane is, you know? And if you just tuned in, you never watched MMA before, you'd be like, oh, this athletic guy is beating up on this guy that doesn't look like he belongs in there. But we know that's not the case. We know exactly who Derek Lewis is. And tonight was just Cyril Gane's coming out party, All the talk about, oh, you're boring, or you're this, or you're that. That dude is for real. Tonight, you talk about the pressure that he must have been under. Guys been getting booed for a week. Nobody here likes him to chant USA, yada, yada, yada. He went out there and put on an unbelievable performance. And like I told Mark earlier, he's a freak of nature athlete. This guy's that good.
And then just one more on Song Yadong. I mean, he came out at one point at the presser and said that his opponent looked slow. I mean, he's only 23 years old. What do you make of his performance?
He said his opponent looked what?
Slow.
Slow?
He said Kenny actually looked slow. I mean, he might have said it tongue in cheek, but he's only 23 years old. I mean, where do you see this guy in a couple of years?
I was talking about that to the matchmakers tonight during the fight. This kid's only 23. How good do you think this guy's going to be when he's 27? You know what I mean? Yeah, he's super talented. I agree with you.
Thank you.
Yep.
What's the status of the women's bantamweight division? We talked to Julia Payne tonight. She's hoping for an interim belt.
They've been terrorizing me all week. We will turn this thing around as soon as possible. And yeah, she's going to get it done.
Would there be an interim title, or is it Amanda Nunes?
She asked me that too.
Okay. Well, we talked to her.
This is what happened tonight in the heavyweight division compared to what's going on over there in that division is apples and oranges. You can't even compare them. She didn't disagree with that either. I told her they're apples and oranges. Anybody else? Thank you. Go. What's up?
Give me some time on that $1 billion streaming deal. I know that's professional sport. That's big time stuff right there.
That what? What's the
The
question?
$1 billion streaming deal that y'all got.
The streaming deal?
Yeah.
What about
How that puts y'all up there with the big boys with the big TV deal that people. I'm pretty sure about 4 or 5 years ago you were wanting this. It's kind of, I won't say it's a dream come true, but I'm pretty sure it's been on your priority list.
Well, there's, I say it to you guys every week, the sport's on fire right now, man. I mean, if you look at, what we've done through the pandemic and then coming out of the pandemic, the sport just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah, it's all good, man. And once everything starts to open up again and get back to normal, I'm looking forward to all the different things that are possible with this sport right now, where we're going, where we're headed. I mean, it's incredible, and it's good for all of us. It's good for you, it's good for me, and it's obviously incredible for the fighters. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.